guys! So last week, the Fortnite creative team hosted an Ask Me Anything session, in which they allowed us map creators to ask them about any future plans, issues, and what's next in priority for Fortnite Creative. So today, I'm going to share with you guys a short summary of what exactly they said and analyze what we can expect in a sort of ramble video. Something I've never done before, so if you enjoy me analyzing information and keeping you guys up to date, let me know by hitting that like button. You guys have been smashing those likes lately, and I really appreciate all the support. But before I do that, there's a 5k V-Bucks going on in my Discord right now. Link in the description below. All you have to do is join my Discord and just press the emote in the giveaway channel. And after that, there's going to be more weekly giveaways. It's free, so what are you waiting for? Now, this Ask Me Anything was so interesting, so let's just jump straight into it. And if you're wondering if it's worth sticking around for it, yes, it absolutely is. Some of the headlines that we'll be talking about today are fishing and water mechanisms, memory limit increase, terraforming tools, creating your own events with moving objects, props, rift zones, build free zones, NPCs, loot pools, challenges, and so much more. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about fishing. Well, let's take it a little bit broader and talk about water, streams, waterfalls, and even boats, as it's all the same plan, because this is one of the things that most of us are really waiting for. So first, the good news. Yes, we will get fishing and everything that comes with it to creative. It's 100% confirmed. Here's the bad news though. They're not sure on the exact timing yet. So before they give us water in creative, they have to think of a lot of different solutions that they didn't have to think of when implementing the water in a controlled environment like Battle Royale. And this kind of makes sense, you know, because if you think about it, in Battle Royale, we have water, but it's a very controlled, stable environment. They put the rivers there exactly. Now, if they would give us water in creative, what happens, for example, when you end the water stream, you know? Does it keep flowing like a waterfall, or does it just like get cut off into a grid block? So they're trying to figure out a way that water would work in creative and that they're happy with and that we can really be creative with and create whatever we want. But don't worry about your current maps that use water in the old way, because everything from the old prefab will not be replaced, but rather just new water features and systems will be added, so your old maps won't be broken. So in short, we'll definitely get water, fishing, and everything that comes with it. You just have to be a little bit more patient. And I'm pulling this a little bit out of context, but they have mentioned it's pretty high on their priority list. So if we have weeks with almost no creative content being added, think of it on a positive note, and just know that they're working hard on getting fishing and rivers in creative. So talking about rivers, let's switch up to terrain in general. We did already get some of these terrain galleries, and they kind of let us build what we need to. But the issue with these terrain galleries is that it's very hard to perfectly match the patterns and shapes to form something that has a natural look and feel to it. Now, what does Epic have planned for us? They said they have several terrain-related initiatives in the work that are very early development. So what does that actually mean? It means that they're spending resources on figuring out what the best way is to handle custom terrain building and terraforming. But I don't think it'll be something we'll see at this point during this season. They did, however, confirm that a tool is in the work that would allow us to swap textures and materials. If that would be implemented, we'd have an insane amount of extra space for creativity and would allow us to pretty much create any custom prop we'd want or need. So that's really cool. And props, that's what makes a map going from to wow, because a good map is all about the details. And even more so now because death runs are becoming a little bit less popular, while adventure and story maps are rising in popularity a lot. And it definitely didn't go unnoticed at Epic headquarters either. Something that they're working on to increase the interactivity in a quest map is adding NPCs to the game. Right now, almost all story maps are either written from like a third perspective, that you use billboards to kind of narrate the story while you go through it, or by using the HUD devices. Now, if we would have actual NPCs in the game, we would be able to not only set up a lot more mechanics like trading and shop systems, but it will also add like a more realistic feeling to our maps and not feel so lonely in a way. It's one of the main things I struggled with when I was setting up my Prison Break map, because I didn't want the prison to feel lonely, so I used the mannequins from the Mega Mall gallery as other inmates, sentries on a different team as guards, and the target practice pop-ups as quest NPCs to kind of differentiate the different type of characters I wanted, and to like in that way take away the feeling of you being alone in the entire prison, because that wouldn't make any sense. but it also allowed you to easily know which characters are interactable with and which ones aren't. Now, if we would just get an NPC device that could maybe use outfits from your locker, it would change the quest and the feel entirely of puzzles, adventures, anything we can imagine. Especially because we had a really good and complex storyline last chapter that gave us some amazing events in Battle Royale. After the black hole downtime, we had a lot of people recreating the event in creative. But what is the one thing that's missing for that, in my opinion? Moving objects and animations. Imagine how insane it would be if we would actually be able to have a rocket fly up in our own creative map, or have a parkour where the hover platform flies back and forward. Now here's the good news, and I'll put this in the exact words Epic gave us. They said, "We've been discussing how we can make the animations work for quite some time. So in short, just like the terraforming tool, coming someday, just not quite yet." Okay, enough about stuff that we will see someday, but not for quite some time, and let's talk about some things that they have confirmed and are probably bound to come into the game a lot sooner. So let's start with some Battle Royale stuff that we got last chapter that people have been begging for. Rift zones. Right now there's a kind of way to make a rift zone with the class device that allows us to override some of the basic settings, but rift zones would take this to a whole new level. And Epic totally agrees with that after we got them in Battle Royale last season. I'm talking about no build zones, different camera filters in certain zones, and so many insane new stuff we'd be able to build with this. So you might think, wow, so impressive. Why would I want the camera style to change mid-game? It doesn't make sense. Here's some things just on top of my head I can imagine with that. Let's say a time traveling map, where when you go to the past, everything becomes black and white. Or a house where when you jump in the TV, you get teleported to a completely different part, making you feel like you're inside the TV. Add the sepia filter to it and boom, you're inside an actual Western movie. In Fortnite, in creative, in a TV. It would just create so many new opportunities and improvements to our existing maps. Or what about just mechanics, No build zones added to your mini Battle Royale map, gravity switch rifts, the possibilities would be endless. Besides that, we also have a new weather device in the making confirmed. Right now we can control the time of day, lighting and fog, but only on an island level. Now imagine if we can do that on command with channels. Or even better, change it to night in the middle of your map. Make it thunder or rain all of a sudden. It would solve a lot of small issues as well we have to deal with right now. One of the things I ran into that would really fix this, for example, in my new Deserted Island quest map, link coming very soon, so stay tuned for that, where I build an entire cave system on an island. Now because of the quest just being on an island, not in a spooky or dark way, I wanted it to be very bright and sunny, almost as if like the heat would be an issue on the island. But then when you get inside the cave, it just felt so unnatural because there's so much light and brightness. A time of day and lighting device would very easily fix this, as I'd just be able to add a perception trigger to change the lighting when you walk inside the cave or tunnel. So I'm really excited for that. Right now it took me almost 5 weeks to create this map, where most of the time was spending on setting up mechanics, but also an insane amount of work went into creating the details like this cave, mountain and waterfalls. And I can't wait for all these new devices that Epic says they're working on that will just make it so much easier to make a realistic feeling map and push out maps a lot faster because I'll just be able to create them a lot easier. And let's dig a little bit deeper in what's coming for content browsing, because prefabs and galleries are getting pretty crowded now as we continue to get more and more items into the game, and it becomes more and more hard to find like the very specific prop you're looking for. And the redesign of this menu would make it a lot easier to find the gallery you want or need. The good news is they have confirmed they're working on a pretty major update to the content browser, and they're actually hoping to release it in the near future. Now, those are words I like, because it sounds like it's not something that's in early development stage, but more like something that's close to getting to the quality assurance team and then to us. Although it won't give us the ability to break things apart yet, they said, at least not in the initial release, it will be a significant upgrade in value and ease of use. And we know Epic really takes our needs and requests into account. Therefore, they also work with some very well-known community creators, and they get early access to new devices, galleries and content. So I'm pretty sure that before the season ends, we'll have our hands on it and be able to much easier find and grab the exact props we need for our map. With the new phone Quickbar being like a first help to that already, Don't forget, if you need a single prop and you're out of memory, you can just go to a different island, throw down the gallery there, and just copy it to your quick bar so you can take it to your almost finished, almost full memory island. That's a little extra hint for you there. And isn't that the struggle we always run into, that the memory bar just fills up so fast? Sometimes even forcing us to make choices what garden gnome we want to keep and which one we'll throw in the X bin. Well, not to worry, because a memory increase has been officially promised as well. Kind of. Since the beginning of time, of Fortnite Creative that is, we've all been screaming for more memory. But what exactly is memory and why is it limited? Render issues? Storage issues? No, the real answer is that the memory limit is actually just a simplified representation of many complex systems behind the scenes. But there are ways they're working on to optimize this memory usage on their side. And they're planning on introducing some new features that will give creators a better understanding and control over how exactly performance is impacted and therefore give us better control of our memory. So we'll see how exactly this works out, but they're definitely on it. And with that, I want to dig a little bit deeper on what they said about creative specific stuff. So far, Save the World is pretty much completely independent than Battle Royale and Creative. But as I say these words, it already becomes clear that Creative is a lot closer and kind of in a way always walks a couple of steps behind the big brother Battle Royale. Now, most of the new galleries we get are just galleries from places we either have or had in the main map of Battle Royale. Although last season that took a small turn and we have been seeing more and more creative only galleries and prefabs like these haunted house ones, and Epic promised us to continue to dedicate time to giving us creative only prefabs and galleries to make our maps even more distinguished from the main map and themes that the storyline follows there. Something we saw during the World Cup finals is also the team-based outfits. And that quickly became one of those things that nobody cared about or thought about before, but as soon as they saw it, we were desperate to implement this in our own maps and free-for-alls and gun games as well. And they did kind of avoid telling us if we're going to be able to set something like that up, but they did say we're getting like more team glows and effects that will help us with our team-based games. Now the last thing I want to talk about is the Battle Royale chests and floor loot in Creative. Right now, chests in Creative are bound to the same loot pool as the ones in Battle Royale. So when this new chapter launched and pretty much everything got vaulted except these basic weapons, all chests in Creative got their loot pool set to the same. Which in my opinion is a big disadvantage for us map creators because we're always bound to whatever Epic decides to implement or not implement, limiting our creative freedom for PvP maps to what they decide is best for the main game. Although we kind of have abused these chests before in a positive way for us creative people to get items like the Batman Grappler and the Batarang that we normally wouldn't have had, but then floor loot we don't have. So if you truly want to make a mini Battle Royale type of map, you have to partly implement chests that are bound to the same loot pool as the main game, and then floor loot you'd have to set up a complex system using a lot of channels to randomly activate or deactivate item spawners. But good news again here, they're aware of this and they will be working on an upgraded chest and loot system. And that's pretty much it for what they wanted to tell us about upcoming stuff. I'm sure they're working on a lot more stuff that they just want to keep a little bit longer hidden from us to keep the element of surprise. Now, besides some bugs that will be fixed very soon, I think Epic has some really cool stuff for us planned, and I can't wait to get my hands on all these new devices and start playing and building with all of them. There were some extra small things that they talked about, but I just wanted to cover the most important parts and analyze a bit what this means and how I think this will affect the creative world. Now, if you guys like this sort of ramble videos, please let me know in the comments below and smash that like button for me. Don't forget to subscribe to always stay up to date on new mechanics, maps, and features, and don't forget about the giveaway in my Discord either. Thank you so much to everybody using code Fortnite Creative Tutorials in the item shop. I'll see you guys soon with new videos, and stay tuned for the best map ever.